Law and safety expert Dale Carson. Dale has decades of experience in law enforcement, including the FBI. All right, Dale, let's jump in. Now, Henry Tennant copped a plea and will testify against Saldana. How critical was that for prosecutors?
Well, it is very critical because, of course, Tennant's a shooter, and the result is he knows why he was engaged to shoot the individual. And so he has information and evidence that can be corroborated. However, he is the shooter, so you can't trust necessarily what he says. So the investigators took their time to corroborate with evidence, checks, maybe text messages and phone calls between the two over the course of a period of time.
And this investigation isn't over. We could have more arrests.
Well, that's exactly right. Conspiracy is really an interesting charge. Conspiracy to commit murder would involve even things like giving an itinerary, showing where somebody will be, when they will be there, providing a handgun in this particular case. All those kinds of things can result in additional charges and additional people being involved.
All right, Dale, we have to leave it there. You'll be back at 5 o'clock. Thank you so much for joining us.
Continuing our team coverage with Action News Jax, law and safety expert Dale Carson. Dale has decades of experience in law enforcement, including the FBI, also an attorney. And Dale, what type of evidence will investigators be looking into with this case?
Well, these are conspiracy-based cases. So in the idea of conspiracy, if anyone assists in the accomplishing of a criminal act, they are chargeable as a principal in Florida. So that could mean anybody. If, for example, you provided an automobile for someone to travel in, you could be connected with that. Even though you may not know ultimately what the use of that vehicle was, if you knew it was going to be used in a criminal matter, you could be charged. So in criminal conspiracy, the group can be rather large. It doesn't have to be small. You provide a gun. You provide an itinerary of where somebody's going to be. If you do those things, you could be charged as a principal in this murder.
And that's essentially what I was going to ask next. Who, based on the pieces that we know of involved in this case, might investigators be looking to get more information from?
Well, of course, they're going to interview anybody connected with the matter. And the objective of interviewing people really is not necessarily to get the truth, but to get a statement from them that you can then look at and analyze as to whether or not it's truthful. So if I say, I wasn't at that house ever, and they triangulate off a cell phone tower the fact that my phone was there at a certain time, then they've got you in a situation where you're not telling police the truth, which is a chargeable event these days, and they can charge you with conspiracy.
Yeah. State attorney made it very clear that this case is still open. The investigation still continues. Dale, we will check back in with you as well.
And there are still questions about this case and who was involved.
Yeah, Action News Jax law and safety expert Dale Carson is here with us in the studio. He has decades of experience in law. We know that Henry Tennant took a plea deal and is going to testify against Mario. Tell us what that means for prosecutors and how could this impact what happens to him in all this?
Well, anytime you identify somebody actually involved in the crime, you're going to interview them. And they may give you information about other co-conspirators connected directly with the crime. So the result is, of course, that now will the new husband of the ex-wife have information he wishes to supply to law enforcement that they may result in other prosecutions. Because in a conspiracy, of course, if you do anything at all to advance the interests of the criminal event, then you could be charged with conspiracy.
Okay. What about Mario cutting a deal?
Well, that's exactly right. If he gives information, he could reduce his exposure to a death penalty case. So there will be that effort to make him talk and to provide information, and should that result in other people being identified as cooperating or participating in this conspiracy for murder, they will also be charged as a principal, subject to life in prison.
All right, Dale, we know there's still a lot of moving parts in this. State attorney saying this investigation is still open.
Yep, and of course we'll keep you posted on it. Dale, thank you so much for joining us on Action News Jax.